All right, we're in the airway and breathing course and talking about supraglottic airways. This one's on the King. We'll have another one on combi tube, and then we'll do a little short one on LMAs and iGels and other various things. But the King Airway, very well covered in the accompanying Moodle lesson, so I don't want to spend too much time on it except to bring out some key points here. Your patient cannot have a gag reflex, and a contraindication is esophageal damage, whether that be from esophageal tumor, esophageal cancer, or whether it is esophageal varices, which are varicose veins on the inside lining of the esophagus, typically caused by difficulty with circulation in the liver and a diseased liver. So your patients that are liver failure or liver disease may be candidates for varices. You may not even know they have esophageal varices. And then that weird case where the guy swallowed something caustic that burned his esophagus. So they should not have a gag and their esophagus should not be damaged. And so in our system, we've used the KingLT SD as a replacement for the combi tube. And we wanted to do that because we thought it was easier to insert. We thought the skill retention of the insertion training was better. And you can intubate around and through this device a little more easily than the combi tube. King comes in all kinds of different sizes. The LTSD has a suction port down the back side where you can just slide a gastric tube. The LTD looks just the same except doesn't have that second lumen back there. Your technique is simple. You lift the mandible either with your hand or with a DL scope. Don't be afraid to use your direct laryngoscopy scope as a handle. It's an excellent mandible handle. You're not using it to visualize. You're using it to control the tongue and jaw and pick it up. So when you're doing Kings or combi tubes, nothing wrong with using that DL scope for that. Anyway, insert the King all the way into the mouth till the colored adapter is at the teeth. Inflate the cuffs because now you got one port that fills up both cuffs. So inflate the cuffs to whatever it says on the side of the tube or on the package. And in general, they come with 60 cc syringes. The big ones do. The adult sizes one do the yellow, red, and purple. Adult sizes one come with a 60 cc syringe. That's a hint. It takes 60 cc's initial filling pressure on most of these. Then ventilate your patient and see if you get good, easy ventilation and good chest rise. If you don't get good chest rise, then you may have a cuff problem. If you don't get good, easy ventilation, it may be that the King is too deeply inserted and you want to withdraw it while you ventilate. Withdraw it while you ventilate until you get good, free, and easy ventilation. And then we'll worry about chest rise a little bit after that. And you secure it the same as an ET tube. We're telling our BLS folks not to even worry with securing it, that the ALS folks will be right behind them, and they will take care of securing that King. Plus, ALS folks are good at securing tubes. So here's the troubleshooting. This is where we have to really think about what's going on here. And so the basic plan is insert, inflate, ventilate, evaluate. So we're looking for chest rise and easy ventilation. And the only thing you have to manipulate is how deep it's inserted and how much that cuff's inflated. You get easy ventilation when the tube is at its proper depth. When the opening for the air to come out, which is between the cuffs, is right over the glottic opening, you get good, easy ventilation. If those holes where the air comes out is deeper down the esophagus, you're not going to get as good a ventilation. It's going to be harder to ventilate. And then good chest rise comes from having the right cuff inflation. We're going to start at 60, but in some cases you may need to sneak a little bit more in there. Placement-wise, the air comes out of the King between the cuffs. And the best way for you to really learn this is to hold a King in your hand and blow into it and feel where the air comes out, and then play with it with various airway models until you understand where the cuffs are, where the air comes out, and where that whole apparatus should be positioned. You want the laryngeal inlet, the cords, to be between the cuffs. That's where the air comes out, between the cuffs. you want it to come out right over that glottic opening. You need to pull that king back a little bit without deflating the cuffs. And so the king is meant to be withdrawn with the cuffs still inflated. That kind of is different than what you're used to with combi tube and ET tube. So and playing with this in a lab setting really helps drive home the point. We can do the troubleshooting. We can say, okay, your ventilation is free and easy, but you don't have good chest rise. Or we can say, you have some chest rise, but it's really hard to bag, and help you figure those things out. Air leaves the king between the cuffs. I think I would know that. I think that's a really important thing. You should probably tattoo that on your arm and never wash it off. If the cuffs do not seal against the esophagus and the pharyngeal walls, the air is going to leak and the chest won't rise. So you add a little bit, sneak a little bit more air in there. You started with about 60, so let's add like 16 now, and just do 10 or 15 cc's at a time. Add a little bit more until you get a good seal. Easy ventilation is all based on insertion depth, but your chest rise really depends on if you're getting a good cuff seal.